Welcome to the PrePost Film Review. I'm Matt Stevenson.
And I'm Jon Asquith. The way we run the show here at the PrePost Film Review is we talk about a movie over two distinct time periods. And those distinct time periods are the trailer and then the film itself. So we record a little section of the podcast after we've watched the trailer and we make some predictions and sort of talk about our expectations, things like that. Then we hit stop on the recording software and we leave it and we go watch the movie, weeks or months later. And then we come back and we talk about the film itself and sort of compare and contrast our expectations versus the actual final product. And when we talk about the feature, we jump straight into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't listen to that section of the podcast. That's the way we do it. And for this episode, we're going to be talking about the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, Phantom Thread.
You can sew almost anything into the canvas of a coat. When I was a boy, I started to hide things in the linings of the garments. Things that only I knew were there. Secrets.
Good morning.
Will you have dinner with me?
Yes.
I feel as if I've been looking for you for a very long time.
You look beautiful. Very beautiful.
I have things I want to do. Things I simply cannot do without you.
Reynolds has made my dreams come true, and I have given him what he desires most in return. Every piece of me.
Okay, we've just watched the trailer for Phantom Thread, the new P.T. Anderson film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a pretty big deal when he releases a film, because he's quite a modern master of the craft, I would say.
Yeah.
I think lots of people would agree with me. It is very exciting though. I mean, he always offers unique, beautifully shot films. I mean, regardless of how much they connect with you or not, that's always sort of a given. So it's always quite exciting. Back with Daniel Day-Lewis here. Obviously a phenomenal actor in his own right. What are your thoughts upon seeing this trailer, Matt?
So, yeah, I guess like you said, just having a new Paul Thomas Anderson film is super exciting. Coming off of Inherent Vice, which I think was perhaps, split, it was very divisive. I liked it, especially after the second viewing. I really liked it, but I know a lot of people didn't. This seems like it's a little bit more of a return to his older stuff, or at least something similar to maybe The Master. It doesn't look like it's as full-on and weird as something like There Will Be Blood. It looks like, quite staged period drama. Which the Master kind of was, but it had sort of a sprinkling of sort of weird touches through it. So I guess that's what I'm kind of hoping it is. It seems to be quite intense, sort of like this intense relationship between this man and the young woman that he meets, this fashion designer, which I guess has shades of the obsession that we saw in There Will Be Blood. In terms of Daniel Day-Lewis's character, perhaps just toned down or more like hidden underneath the sort of facade of that era's, social norms. It looks great. All his stuff is shot on film, so it looks gorgeous. I'm really excited for that. I'm super excited, but I don't really feel like I know much about the film from the trailer. I guess that's a good thing. Other than that, he's a fashion designer and he develops this relationship. Maybe that's it, and it's just going to be a character piece about these two. But I don't really feel like it spoiled much, other than perhaps that it doesn't seem to go very well for their relationship. Yeah. But it's a Paul Thomas Anderson film. You didn't really expect a happy romantic comedy. but yeah, it's super excited. Just excited to see Daniel Day-Lewis. Excited to see a new Paul Thomas Anderson film, and excited to like the look of it, the 35mm, the beautiful way it's shot. I'm pretty pumped for this. This is high on my list of most anticipated films, so I'm amped. John, what about you?
Great. I'm excited for the same reasons, obviously. It looks beautiful. I'm sure the performances are going to be awesome. It seems, to be more of just a simple character study, I think. But I like that there seems to be as you say, something goes wrong, or perhaps something even sinister, like the editing and the sort of the music is not quite. It's beautiful, but it's not quite romantic. It's still sort of slightly unhinged or something.
Certainly builds to an intensity like this.
Yeah. It's quite a well cut trailer, actually. It's all sort of timed to the music and everything, and I think that's quite nice. I'm quite excited for this as well. I think to see another sort of method Daniel Day-Lewis performance is always pretty exciting, and apparently his last one. Yeah,
though we've heard that before, haven't we? He went off to be a cobbler for a decade or so.
That's right. Forgot about that.
Which is like surprising. That's quite fitting. I'm sure he will be able to bring some of that experience to this role. I guess there's similar professions there totally. In a way.
Yeah, very true. I don't have much more to add on top of your thoughts. And I'm quite excited, and I think I guess the only danger is that perhaps on paper maybe I personally could not be interested in some of the subject matter
in terms of the fashion world.
Yeah, I don't know what how much you can do with that, and that's probably coming from a place of ignorance. But if it's just them standing around and him like making her a dress or something, like maybe that's
2.5 hours of him just making a dress in real time. Yeah,
exactly. That would be ambitious. I guess you got to give it credit for that. But it hints at more than that. I mean, I'm just sort of saying that to be devil's advocate or whatever. I think I'm pretty excited for this, and I think it's going to be good.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's hear what our future selves.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Her arrival has cast a very long shadow.
She's barely looked at you this evening, has she?
May I warn you of something? My brother can feel cursed, that love is doomed for him.
I don't like the fabric.
Maybe one day you'll change your taste.
Maybe I like my own taste.
Just enough to get you into trouble.
Perhaps I'm looking for trouble.
Stop. There is an air of quiet death in this house.
You're not cursed, you're loved by me. Stop playing this game.
What game? What precisely is the nature of my game?
All your rules and your clothes and all this money and everything is a game.
This was an ambush.
Stop.
Are you sent here to ruin my evening and possibly my entire life?
Stop it! Whatever you do it carefully.
Okay, get your scissors ready and your needles threaded, because we've just seen Phantom Thread, and we're going to talk about it now, Matt. New P.T. Anderson film. Or should you say, is P.T. Anderson the other P.T. Anderson?
Isn't he just Paul? Isn't he just Paul Anderson?
Oh, he's just Paul Anderson. Okay,
I think.
I couldn't remember how close they were. Yeah, but
I think that's what it is.
They were both PT. We're off to a great start here. The new Paul Thomas Anderson film, and we were both pretty excited for this. I recall in our trailer section, for all the sort of obvious filmy reasons that you would be excited for a new film from him. So, did this live up to your expectations, Matt?
Broadly, yes, I think so. But I had this is a very specific viewing experience. something happened in this film that doesn't often happen, even though I harp on about. I'm one of those people that would never leave a film before the end, and I always argue that, you know, something could happen that might change the way you see a film, and that is exactly what happened in this film. Because for most of the film, as much as I enjoyed it and I liked the way it was shot and I respected the deliberate slow pacing, I did find it a bit dull, if I'm honest. Not much really happens. I didn't sort of know where it was going. I don't know. It was just the slowness of it. Like I said, as much as it's kind of, I respected the call back to that kind of old style filmmaking, and he's kind of just telling the tale at his own pace. I loved that, but on an entertainment level, I got a little bit bored. But then it sort of takes this very strange, weird turn right at the very end that almost completely recontextualizes like the whole film. Not in like a twist way, but it's suddenly his character takes on this other dimension, and their relationship turns into something completely not what it was, and it becomes this weird kind of like, I mean, it's not a sexual thing, but it's this like weird submissive, dominant, kind of messed up, and I loved it, and that reveal made me appreciate the whole film so much more, and just like the audacity to make such a slow mannered, I don't know, period piece that is actually this like weird psychosexual kink film, you know, like it's who has the audacity to make something like that? It's kind of amazing. I don't know, I loved it. I loved that reveal at the end, and the way that changed their relationship in this weird, and it kind of that makes sense rethinking about how he just even in his work life would work himself to a point of exhaustion and then almost collapse for 3 days, and that was kind of like what cemented their relationship. That was the moments when she, you know, got to be with him and feel like he was with her, and, you know,
and needed her.
Exactly. And that was like the seeds of this thing that was sort of like grew into this weird kind of rotten thing that they end up doing, where she's deliberately poisoning him half to death so that she can nurse him back to health. Like, I loved it. So yeah, I don't know, I guess we can get into more specifics, but I mean, that I found this was a rare example of a film that you really need to watch all the way through, because I could feel people you might get bored of it and turn it off like halfway or 2/3 of the way through, and you'd miss the whole point of the film in a sense. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was great. What about you? Did you enjoy this? Did it live up to your expectations?
Yeah, it did. I would say it exceeded my expectations, actually. I was excited for it, but didn't know what to expect, and I sort of vaguely said I wasn't sure whether the actual subject matter would be interesting to me based on the trailer. But I really, really love this movie. I think it's another masterpiece. I don't think I suffered from the same experience as you. I was sort of hooked straight away, just to be in the world of this, self-absorbed genius that the Reynolds character that Daniel Day-Lewis is playing, and just seeing how he controls every single aspect of his life, and it's so meticulous and regimented, and then to meet someone that in her own subtle way is pushing back against his rules, and this dynamic that they have where it's never there's maybe one scene where they're actually saying it to each other and shouting at each other, but the rest is all really subtle, like moving chess pieces almost, and testing each other's boundaries. But then there's hints of him being overly attached to his mother and missing her and needing a mother figure, which is how we end up with the weirdness at the end, and her needing him, and because they're in a relationship, and she feels like she's being pushed to the side as he's done with all his other lovers, and so that strange meeting in the middle is, as you say, you would never predict that the way they meet in the middle is through poison mushrooms. And when it first happens, you know, when she does it solo the first time and you see her cutting them up and purposely doing it, it's just like, oh, fuck, where the hell is this movie going to go now? Is he going to die? Is he going to find out and just lose his shit? And then there's that great, I mean, we're sort of way down into spoilers, obviously, in the end, where they're at the dinner table, you know, just the last kind of
what a
10
scene,
minutes or
right?
whatever of the movie. And he's like, he's got a knowing look in his eye, and you're not sure whether he knows, and he's hovering so long with the fork. Oh man, I get like shivers even thinking about how expertly crafted that scene in particular is. And then, you know, that he says, you know, kiss me before I'm too sick or something like that.
Yeah.
Acknowledging that they know what's going on, and then that main theme like swells up, the loudest it's ever been in the movie with the full orchestra, and it's just one of those moments, you know, that's just incredible, and everything sort of comes together at that point. I loved that.
It's amazing.
So I didn't mind the build up before that. I didn't mind that it is slow, but as you say, beautifully shot, and the set design and obviously costume design is just really, really cool, really beautiful. And there's one other scene in particular I really liked, just because of its subtle creepiness, is when he's poisoned and he sees his mother
just about to say the same
watching
thing.
over him in the corner, and oh man, that was so well done and so simple, but really, really creepy. And it made me like so badly want him to do a horror movie because I think it would be one of the scariest films ever made.
Well, it's like the Kubrick thing. Like we've said before, he's almost like the modern day Kubrick. He needs to tackle some like a genre, like do a sci-fi, do his own 2001, and then do his own The Shining. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I would love that so much. That's like my dream.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm glad it worked so well. I wasn't sure. Like, I've spoken to some people since seeing it, and it seems to be a bit divisive. Like, some people, one friend in particular had almost the opposite reaction of me and loved all of it until the end and then hated the ending, which I found really interesting. So I'm glad it worked for you. What did you think of Daniel Day-Lewis's performance?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, he's... You know, if you compare it to Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood, it's completely different. I know that's what actors do, but he's known for giving every part of himself to a character, and you can see it in like the limp wrists and the way he sort of, you know, crosses his legs and leans forward, and obviously his voice is totally different, and it's just British, but it's got some other slight accent to it that I'm imagining he had like some huge backstory for the way this character speaks. I thought he was great, but he's also very petulant, and as I said at the start, self-absorbed, and if you want to really boil it down, he's like a genius that's also a mummy's boy, and he's very selfish and kind of chucks tantrums and stuff. So I thought, it's a very complex character to play, and he does a great job. Yeah,
he's almost like surrounds himself with mother figures, like his sister takes up that mantle to an extent as well, like planning his life and doing everything for him, being almost like his bodyguard as well, like, shielding him from everything.
And he'll run to her, almost like running to mummy,
Yeah, exactly.
And saying, can you get rid of this horrible girl now?
Yeah,
I'm sick of her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that moment when Alma prepares a surprise dinner for him and makes everyone leave the house. And his like instant reaction is just to be obsessed with where the sister is and like when she's going to be back and when she left. And he just does not care at all for the effort that's gone into this supposedly romantic gesture that she's created for him.
Empathise at all or put himself in someone else's shoes in a way that... a lot of sort of people that are, I guess, kind of, what would you say, on the spectrum, but they're a genius at one particular thing, but have almost no. They can be quite charming as well, but can't empathize with anyone else and get agitated if they're out of their routine.
I was just going to say, like, I really also liked that moment at the New Year's Eve party when he comes to confront her, because it's almost like it doesn't do either of the things you expect. It doesn't turn into a romantic gesture where it's like he's accepting that she wanted to do this thing and now they're going to do it together, or it doesn't blow up in the opposite direction and turn into like this big argument where they create a scene. It's just this like weird hostile moment between the two that I don't know, just doesn't explode into either direction that you think it will. It's really smartly done or uniquely handled.
Yeah, I totally agree. It felt more realistic in a way, actually, even though you would expect perhaps a fight or a confrontation. It's one of those things where they've had a massive argument and she's gone, and yet he's eventually, gone to check on her, and they have that sort of stare off at each other.
Yep.
And then he sort of, just takes her by the hand and they go away and they don't need to say anything. But I really love the way that scene was shot. I've got sort of some Kubrick vibes in that there's one shot where he arrives, you see him walking up the stairs and coming towards the camera, opens the door, and then we sort of track back with him and pan to the side, and there's this whole room of extras there that you didn't even know, similar to when Jack Torrance walks into the bar in The Shining and suddenly it's filled with people. And just the execution of that, I love, like there's like hundreds of people there and they all had to be, timed perfectly, and it's lit so well and the balloons are coming down. It's just...
but it's all for the background of a shot, not
it's all for the background.
Yeah,
exactly. You're looking at him as he peers down the crowd. It's, just so good. I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. You're making me love it even more, like... After experiencing the ending, I loved it, but I didn't know whether I would consider it like a masterpiece or one of his best. But talking about it now with you is making me love it even more, and I really want to revisit it. And I think it will definitely bump up the ranks. Not that I didn't like it, but his films are so strong. It's hard to rank them, but it's definitely growing on me the more we chat.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to watch on a repeat viewing, knowing more about their relationship, and the dynamic and the roles that they play. I think you probably pick up on things more
definitely
earlier the second time around. And my wife brought up a good point too, that the first time he sees her is she's feeding him. She's caring
I thought the same
him.
Thing. Yep.
Which is really cool. And she's wearing a sort of burgundy colour in her waitress outfit. And for almost every outfit after that in the movie, she has some shade of that colour.
Interesting.
On her. And that's the first colour that he prepares for her. And when he makes the dress, he puts a blue sash on and he's like, no, that's not right. And then puts on
I love that. That's great.
So it's sort of keeping her in that role.
Yeah.
That's
so true. Her character is so... Food is such a central part. Like you said, they meet at the diner. Her note is about him being a hungry boy. That he takes her on a date to dinner. I guess that's not an abnormal thing, but that's what we see. There's a lot of the interactions are over the breakfast table with her noisily buttering toast, which is hilarious. By the way,
those things were good.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
When she prepares food as a lover,
he's
not interested. But if it's a caring
that
sort of he's into it. Yeah. So I love all those little threads, pun intended, that sort of weave through everything. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's also like it made me think this is kind of in a way a more sophisticated version of Mother. Do you know what I mean? Like it's about this man that has a history of just like using these women as inspiration, or not even necessarily inspiration, just like as part of his life until he's sick of them and then moves on to someone else. But this like is much more subtle about it, obviously. I mean, not to say that Mother, we both really liked Mother, and there's something to be said about the brashness of its like allegory, but this is similar themes.
I totally agree.
But then like I also like the way it sort of splits off in an opposite direction. It's not just about him, it's she becomes one that has like significant agency over him, and it becomes, like you said, about how the two of them mesh in the end instead of him just completely destroying her and moving on to someone else. It's like he's finally found someone that can somehow, in this weird, messed up way, fit into exactly what he wants out of a relationship.
Yes. Yeah, so true. And as you sort of mentioned a couple of times, the movie feels like perhaps it is you're just going to end up with her as in the same situation that the previous girlfriend was.
That's how I thought it was going.
And you're just going to watch that arc and that's it. Yeah. And then it has this darker twist which really flips things.
I think that's probably where some of my boredom came in, is because I thought I knew where it was going, and it was taking such a long time to get there. I was like, I can see what this story is trying to say, and it didn't seem to be doing that, other than the filmmaking, anything narratively interesting until the end, and I was so wrong. Yeah. It's a great experience in the cinema to have that, though, like that, have your view completely changed.
Yeah,
within
absolutely.
the one sitting. Not that I hated it as well beforehand, but it just like made me appreciate it so much more at the end.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I love that. Something else I'd like to pay attention to on the rewatch is, you know how he gives that spiel about women don't want to try on a wedding dress or touch it because they think they're cursed, and then he like fucks up that. When he collapses on the
and gets his shoe polish on it and stuff.
It gets stuff all over it, and I wonder if there's some sort of like connective tissue in there as well about being cursed and
interesting,
and all that sort of stuff.
There's also the like the constant theme of him like sewing little secrets or things into,
that was a cool thing.
Like he talks about that sewing his mother's name into the lining of his jacket, which I guess ties into what you're saying about him being sort of slightly obsessed with his mother.
Yeah,
but then he does
in his jacket is her some of her.
Oh, that's
hair.
right. It was a lock of her hair. That's right.
Yeah, which is even creepier.
Yeah, exactly. But then he also sews like little messages and things into all the dresses that he makes. So, which was a cool, interesting little touch. And I wonder, like you said, upon rewatching, there's some sort of more significant connective tissue between that as well. Because I can't quite remember what it specifically was that he was sewing into each thing. But there was something about not being cursed or something in the wedding dress, I think, wasn't there?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool little detail. Actually, another weird little side note, I really loved when there was like close-ups of what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis's fingers. They were all like fucked up, like they'd been hit by like needles and stuff. Like I don't know whether he just like sat there and ruined his thumbs for like a week, but it just genuinely felt like he was like a master artist that would be like your fingers, your hands get damaged doing that kind of work. Exactly. It's such a really nice attention to, unless it weren't his hands, maybe they found someone that was a real dressmaker or something. Yeah, exactly. But I really appreciate little touches like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, he weirdly likes to drive super fast in his car. I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Yeah, I thought originally maybe that was going somewhere as well, like in sense that like he'd crash or something. It's friggin' drives like a maniac.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, I wonder if that's just his urgency and his need to get where he's going and not waste time.
That's true, I suppose. He's very like matter of fact to the point. It's true.
And even though he's sort of 50% unlikable in the way he acts a lot of the time, or sometimes purely unlikable. Yeah. He's also very charming and suave as fuck in this movie. Just like a stylish dude.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, man, I wish I could like pull that sort of stuff off.
Hopefully when I'm that age, I can look that good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great.
The only other thing, which I kind of touched on earlier, is this. I thought the score was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
it was point. Felt very classical, and very romantic in that sort of traditional meaning of the word. Lots of flourishes and big moves, but also at times was a little off center and off kilter. And I guess again, just kind of suggesting it at the darkness or the trouble that these characters have underneath the surface. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Man, it makes me so excited to see what he has next. I mean, I'm always excited to see what he has next, but it's like a nice reminder that he's like one of, if not the greatest modern filmmaker of our time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exciting to have new stuff still coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PrePost Film Review. We'd love to hear what everyone thought of Phantom Thread. Was it up there with P.T. Anderson's best work, or was it disappointing? Was it boring? Was it sexually exciting to you because you like to poison your partner? Let us know. And if you said us that last one, we're going to pass it on to the police, because you shouldn't be doing that. But you can email us your thoughts at prepostfilmreview@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. We love getting emails there, so please send them through.
Cool. You can also find us on Facebook. You can message us there or leave us a little comment or review. We're on Twitter as well, at PrePostFR, where we post new episodes. Where when new episodes are out, we tweet about interesting news articles, little bits and pieces. So come and follow us there. The most important thing, however, is to subscribe. Do that on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on right now. That would be fantastic. It helps us find new listeners. And if you like the show, leave a review. That would be good also. You
can also find us on Letterboxd, which is a great little film website or app that lets you keep like a film diary. And there's a good little community over there of film buffs. So the links for our profiles are in the show notes. And give us a follow, and we'll follow you right back, because you're a friend of ours, so check us out. And you can listen to us next episode as we talk about the new Alex Garland film, Annihilation.
Super excited. One of our most anticipated films of the year, I think.
Yes, that's right. You dickhead.
Cool.